Choosing yourself above all else is one of the most radical acts of courage you can ever commit to in your life. From the moment you decide that your dreams, your health, your emotions, and your personal growth matter more than pleasing others, you step into a freedom that most people spend their entire lives chasing but never truly grasp. So often we are taught from an early age that putting others first is the mark of a good person, that sacrificing ourselves for family, friends, or society earns us validation, respect, or love. But in reality, when you consistently prioritize everyone else while neglecting your own needs, you create a life of quiet, suffering, regret, and unfulfilled potential. True freedom begins the instant you realize that your life is yours and yours alone, that you are responsible for your happiness, your growth, and the direction of your journey. When you start choosing yourself, you release the chains of obligation and expectation that have bound you for so long. You no longer make choices based on fear of rejection, judgment, or disapproval. You start to make decisions that honor your soul, your ambitions, and your well-being. And as you continue to practice this, an extraordinary transformation begins to take place in your life. You start noticing that every day becomes richer, more meaningful, and more aligned with the essence of who you truly are. This act of prioritizing yourself does not mean you become selfish or uncaring toward others. Rather, it allows you to operate from a place of full presence and authenticity. When your energy is focused on your growth and well-being, you show up fully in every interaction, every relationship, every responsibility, because you are not depleted, frustrated, or resentful. You discover that by taking care of yourself first, you actually create more capacity to give to others. Your relationships improve, your work improves, and your creativity flourishes, because the foundation of your life is no longer built on compromise, obligation, or unmet needs. Freedom, in this sense, is not just about external circumstances. It is an internal state of being. You realize that no person, no job, no social expectation has the power to define your worth, to limit your potential, or to dictate the quality of your life unless you allow them to. Choosing yourself is the ultimate declaration of independence, the personal revolution that shakes off decades of conditioning that taught you to minimize your importance, to accept mediocrity, and to silence your own voice. When you prioritize yourself, you begin to understand the subtle ways in which you were living small for the comfort of others. You begin to notice how often you were saying yes when you wanted to say no, how often you were sacrificing your energy, time, and joy to fulfill the unspoken expectations of those around you. And as this awareness grows, a sense of liberation sweeps through your entire being. You start to restructure your life around what truly matters to you. And suddenly, every action, every choice, every moment becomes a conscious act of self-alignment. There is a clarity that comes with this self-prioritization, a knowing that you are no longer wandering through life trying to meet the standards or timelines set by someone else. You are free to define your own path, free to set your own rules, free to pursue the experiences, relationships, and achievements that resonate with your deepest self. This freedom also brings with it a profound sense of responsibility. Choosing yourself does not mean avoiding accountability. It means owning every part of your life fully. You become the architect of your reality. You recognize that your choices, your habits, your mindset, and your dedication determine your outcomes. There's a power in this responsibility, a thrill in realizing that. No external circumstance can control you unless you allow it to. Every decision to prioritize your growth, to protect your energy, and to follow your passions is an act of liberation, a step toward a life that is genuinely yours. And as you continue to make these choices consistently, the walls of limitation and self-doubt crumble, replaced by a life of authenticity, purpose, and boundless opportunity. When you finally choose yourself above all else, one of the most profound shifts you experience is clarity. For too long, life can feel like a fog, a blur of conflicting priorities, other people's expectations, and endless distractions. You move through days reacting rather than creating, making decisions based on pressure, guilt, or the need to appease others. And in the process, your true purpose becomes hidden beneath layers of compromise and uncertainty. But the moment you commit fully to yourself, to your growth, to your vision, something remarkable begins to happen. The fog lifts. Suddenly, you start seeing your life as it really is, not as others have told you it should be. Your goals, your values, and your passions become crystal clear. Every choice you make is no longer random or driven by fear. It is intentional, aligned with the deepest truths of who you are and what you are here to accomplish. This clarity is not just mental, it is emotional, spiritual, and energetic. You feel a sense of direction in your bones, a knowing that your actions are consistent with your inner purpose, and an unshakable confidence that you are on the right path. When you choose yourself, the decisions that once seemed overwhelming begin to simplify. You stop being swayed by the opinions of others, by societal norms, or by the pressures of convenience and habit. Instead, you measure every choice against the standard of your highest self. Does this serve my growth? Does this align with my purpose? Does this honor my time, energy, and potential? When the answer is yes, you act. When the answer is no, you release it without hesitation or guilt. This sense of alignment is liberating because you no longer live in conflict with yourself. You stop second guessing, stop overanalyzing, and stop trying to please everyone around you. Your energy is no longer fragmented, scattered across 100 obligations that do not truly matter to you. Every action becomes purposeful, every moment intentional, and with each aligned step, your vision of the life you are meant to live comes into sharper focus. Clarity also allows you to identify the distractions and obstacles that have been holding you back. When you commit to yourself, you begin to recognize the relationships, habits, and environments that drain your energy or cloud your judgment. You no longer tolerate anything that does not serve your highest good. You become highly selective about where you invest your time, attention, and emotion, and in doing so, you create space for what truly matters. The people who were previously consuming your energy without contributing to your growth naturally fall away, while doors open for opportunities, collaborations, and relationships that are aligned with your purpose. This discernment is a direct result of choosing yourself, because when your internal compass is calibrated to your own truth, everything outside that truth becomes easier to see for what it really is. Moreover, clarity that emerges from self-commitment is deeply empowering. You begin to understand your priorities in a way you never have before. With this understanding comes the courage to pursue them relentlessly. You no longer live passively or let life happen to you. Instead, you take ownership of your destiny. Each morning becomes an opportunity to act on your purpose, to make decisions that propel you forward, and to eliminate the noise that distracts from your vision. You feel lighter, more focused, and more alive because you are no longer lost in the endless tug of war between obligation and desire. The direction of your life becomes self-evident, as if the path you were always meant to walk was there all along, waiting for you to finally see it. Choosing yourself above all else also creates a powerful ripple effect of mental and emotional clarity. Your thoughts become organized, your goals become concrete, and your intentions become unmistakable. You develop the ability to see through confusion, recognize patterns, and anticipate challenges before they arise. The choices you make are no longer reactive. They are proactive, grounded in the certainty of your values and vision. You stop drifting and start steering your life with precision, navigating obstacles with a sense of purpose and responding to opportunities with clarity and confidence. When you finally choose yourself above all else, one of the most powerful tools you develop is the ability to set boundaries. For many years, you may have been living life on someone else's terms, allowing other people's expectations, demands, and opinions to dictate your actions, your emotions, and even your dreams. You may have said yes when you wanted to say no, given more than you could afford to give, and sacrificed your energy, time, and happiness to avoid conflict or gain approval. But the moment you choose yourself, boundaries emerge not as walls, but as gates of protection, designed to safeguard your energy, focus, and peace of mind. Boundaries are the invisible framework that allows you to live fully aligned with your purpose. They are the lines you draw to separate your life from chaos, distraction, and negativity. And the moment you honor them consistently, you begin to experience a freedom that is unparalleled. These boundaries become a reflection of self-respect, because when you prioritize your needs, your values, and your goals, you are teaching the world how to treat you. You are no longer available to drain your energy with demands that do not serve your life, and you begin to attract people and circumstances that honor the space you have created for yourself. The power of boundaries is often underestimated because many confuse them with selfishness or arrogance. In reality, boundaries are the very foundation of healthy relationships, personal growth, and long-term success. They are the armor that protects your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, while allowing you to invest fully in the areas of life that truly matter. By saying no to things that do not serve you, you create space for opportunity, experiences, and connections that elevate your life rather than deplete it. This is why boundaries are so transformative. They allow you to operate from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, from clarity rather than confusion, from strength rather than weakness. Every boundary you set is a declaration that your time, energy, and purpose are valuable and that you will not compromise them for anyone or anything that does not contribute to your highest good. When you implement boundaries, you also gain a remarkable sense of control over your life. You stop being a victim of circumstance or the demands of others, and you step into a position of authority over your own reality. You decide what you will tolerate, what you will engage with, and what you will release. This control is empowering because it is rooted in self-awareness and self-respect, not fear or rigidity. It allows you to navigate relationships, work environments, and daily challenges with confidence, knowing that you are protecting what is most important: your energy, your focus, and your well-being. Boundaries help you prioritize your goals over distractions, your health over exhaustion, and your purpose over pressure. They give you permission to invest fully in yourself without guilt or hesitation. Boundaries also create clarity in communication. When you know your limits and are willing to enforce them, others understand what they can and cannot expect from you. Misunderstandings, resentment, and conflict diminish because your intentions are clear and your interactions are authentic. You no longer bend over backward to meet impossible demands or appease unreasonable expectations. Instead, you communicate from a place of integrity, consistency, and confidence. People begin to respect you not because you are demanding, but because you respect yourself, and respect always attracts respect. Boundaries teach others how to treat you, and when enforced consistently, they create an environment where your growth, focus, and happiness are prioritized without apology. Perhaps most importantly, boundaries become a superpower because they give you the freedom to live intentionally. They allow you to choose your commitments, your relationships, and your habits with purpose rather than out of obligation or fear. When you protect your energy and your space, you create the mental and emotional bandwidth necessary to pursue your passions, invest in your personal growth, and experience joy at the highest level. You stop scattering yourself in too many directions and start concentrating on what truly matters. This focus and protection amplify your productivity, creativity, and clarity, and your life begins to reflect the alignment that was previously missing. Boundaries transform the way you live every day, giving you the freedom to prioritize yourself, the courage to say no without guilt, and the strength to create a life that resonates with your highest self. When you finally choose yourself above all else, one of the most profound shifts you experience is the explosive growth of confidence. Confidence is not merely a feeling, it is a state of being, a deep inner knowing that you are capable, worthy, and fully equipped to navigate the challenges and opportunities of your life. For too long, many people allow their confidence to be dictated by external factors, other people's opinions, past failures, societal expectations, or the fear of rejection. But the moment you commit fully to yourself, a new kind of confidence begins to emerge, one that is unshakable because it is rooted in self-respect, self-trust, and unwavering alignment with your purpose. Every decision to prioritize your own growth, every act of self-love, and every boundary you enforce strengthens this inner power until it becomes a force that radiates in every aspect of your life. You begin to operate from certainty rather than doubt, from empowerment rather than hesitation, and from courage rather than fear. This confidence is not superficial or dependent on external validation. It is not something that wavers when circumstances change or when people criticize or challenge you. Instead, it is a steady, enduring sense of assurance that comes from knowing that you are taking the actions necessary to honor your potential, your values, and your vision. You start to trust yourself in ways you never have before. You trust your decisions, your instincts, and your ability to navigate any situation that arises. You no longer look to others for approval because your approval of yourself is enough. This internal trust transforms the way you move through life. You speak with clarity, act with purpose, and pursue your goals with relentless determination because you know that your worth and capability are inherent, not dependent on anyone else's recognition. Choosing yourself above all else also removes the invisible shackles that have been holding you back. Many people walk through life with a quiet fear that they are not enough, not capable, or not deserving. These fears are reinforced when we constantly measure ourselves against others, seek validation from external sources, or ignore our own needs in favor of pleasing those around us. But the moment you prioritize yourself, you begin to dismantle these limiting beliefs. Each time you make a choice that honors your growth, each time you protect your energy, each time you act in alignment with your purpose, you prove to yourself that you are more capable than you ever realized. Confidence grows exponentially because it is reinforced by repeated experiences of self-mastery, self-respect, and personal victory. You no longer rely on luck, chance, or approval. You rely on the certainty that comes from knowing who you are and what you are capable of achieving. This newfound confidence transforms the way you engage with the world. You begin to attract opportunities, people, and experiences that match your elevated energy. Doors that were once closed begin to open because your presence alone commands respect, trust, and attention. People are drawn to your certainty, your clarity, and your authentic expression of self. You notice that you no longer tolerate situations, relationships, or environments that undermine your growth or self-worth. Instead, you move boldly toward those that nurture and amplify your abilities. This is the power of confidence that comes from choosing yourself. It creates a magnetic energy that aligns your life with your highest potential. Confidence also allows you to take risks with courage and resilience. When you operate from self-assurance, failure is no longer a source of shame or doubt. It is a teacher, a stepping stone, and a confirmation of your willingness to grow. You are willing to stretch beyond comfort, try new things, and pursue bold dreams because your sense of worth is anchored internally, not shaken by temporary setbacks or criticism. Each challenge you face becomes an opportunity to reinforce your belief in yourself. And each success, no matter how small, compounds your confidence exponentially. You start to realize that the limitations you once feared were only illusions, and that your potential to achieve, grow, and thrive is infinite. Ultimately, the confidence that grows from choosing yourself above all else is not just about personal power. It is a transformative force that touches every area of your life. It enhances your relationships, your career, your health, and your ability to influence and inspire others. You no longer live in fear of judgment or rejection. Instead, you live in the certainty of your value, your purpose, and your capability. This confidence is a natural byproduct of self-prioritization, a testament to the courage, dedication, and love you show yourself every day. When you finally choose yourself above all else, an incredible shift occurs in the energy you radiate and the life you begin to attract. There is a natural law at work in the universe. Energy attracts like energy. When you prioritize your growth, your well-being, and your purpose, you're sending a powerful signal to the world, a frequency that resonates with abundance, opportunity, and success. You begin to notice doors opening in places you never expected, connections forming with people who align with your vision, and experiences arriving that feel as though they were waiting for you all along. Choosing yourself elevates your vibration, and as your vibration rises, so does your ability to attract circumstances and people that are in harmony with the life you are meant to live. It is not magic or coincidence. It is the direct result of aligning your inner world with your desires. And when you do, the outer world cannot help but respond. Abundance begins to flow when you no longer operate from a place of scarcity, fear, or people-pleasing. When your energy is focused on growth, self-love, and personal excellence, you are no longer drained by distractions, toxic relationships, or endless obligations that do not serve you. You are available for the opportunities that matter, for the moments that are aligned with your purpose, and for the people who truly support and elevate you. The universe responds to the clarity and consistency of your focus by presenting pathways, resources, and collaborations that would have been invisible or inaccessible when your energy was scattered or diluted. Every choice to prioritize yourself, every moment you dedicate to your growth, and every boundary you enforce creates a magnetic field that pulls abundance and opportunity toward you naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. Choosing yourself also changes the way you perceive opportunity. When you are operating from alignment, you recognize possibilities where others see obstacles, and you act decisively instead of hesitating. The confidence, clarity, and self-respect that come from self-prioritization allow you to identify opportunities that match your vision, while ignoring distractions or offers that do not serve your highest good. This discernment is critical because abundance is not just about what comes to you. It is about what you are willing to embrace and act upon. When your inner world is organized, focused, and elevated, the outer world begins to reflect that same order and clarity, creating a synergy that makes your path smoother, your vision sharper, and your life richer. Opportunities also begin to arrive in the form of relationships, mentorships, and collaborations that accelerate your growth. People are naturally drawn to individuals who operate from self-prioritization, clarity, and confidence. When you respect yourself and honor your purpose, others sense the integrity and strength in your energy, and they are attracted to contribute, collaborate, or connect with you in ways that elevate both parties. Doors that were previously closed begin to open because you are no longer operating from fear, scarcity, or self-doubt. Instead, you are in a state of readiness, fully prepared to step into every opportunity that aligns with your goals, values, and purpose. Abundance also manifests in unexpected ways. It may come as a new idea, a sudden insight, a chance encounter, or even an inner realization that propels you toward your dreams. When you choose yourself, your energy is no longer scattered or consumed by worry, obligation, or self-doubt. You are fully available to receive, recognize, and act upon these opportunities. The universe has a way of rewarding those who value themselves, who protect their time and energy, and who pursue growth relentlessly. As you continue to prioritize yourself, you begin to see that abundance is not merely financial or material. It is freedom, connection, love, joy, health, creativity, and fulfillment. Every aspect of your life begins to align with the vision you have for yourself. And the opportunities that arise are simply reflections of the energy you are now embodying. By choosing yourself above all else, you position yourself at the center of a flow of abundance that is limitless and ever expanding. You learn to recognize opportunities not as luck, but as the natural outcome of alignment, discipline, and self-respect. You begin to attract experiences, people, and circumstances that amplify your growth, elevate your energy, and propel you toward your highest potential. And this process becomes self-reinforcing, with every act of self-prioritization increasing your ability to attract even more abundance. When you finally choose yourself above all else, one of the most profound and lasting transformations you experience is the creation of a legacy of purpose and fulfillment. This is not about leaving behind material wealth or recognition. It is about living a life so aligned with your values, your passions, and your highest potential that every action you take becomes a reflection of your deepest truth. Choosing yourself ignites a ripple effect that extends far beyond your personal life, influencing those around you and inspiring them to rise to their own greatness. By prioritizing your growth, clarity, and purpose, you become a living example of what is possible when courage, self-respect, and determination are applied consistently. People are drawn to authenticity, and when they witness someone boldly pursuing their own path, it awakens something within them, a recognition that they too have the power to step into their own life and make choices that honor their true selves. This ripple effect is the essence of legacy, the invisible but enduring impact of a life lived intentionally, passionately, and courageously. When you choose yourself, you begin to see life not as a series of random events, but as a purposeful journey where every decision matters. You understand that the way you live, the choices you make, and the energy you radiate contribute to the world in ways that extend beyond your immediate experience. Each act of courage, each step towards self-prioritization, and each boundary you enforce becomes part of the blueprint for a life of fulfillment. You begin to see the interconnectedness of your life with the lives of others, recognizing that your pursuit of authenticity and excellence sets a standard that others can follow. By embodying the principles of self-respect, clarity, and alignment, you leave a trail of inspiration that transcends generations, influencing not just those in your immediate circle, but countless others who encounter your energy, your work, and your story. Fulfillment emerges naturally when you prioritize yourself because you are no longer living according to the expectations or approval of others. You stop compromising your dreams for the comfort of others, and you begin to engage with life fully, intentionally, and passionately. Every action you take is aligned with your values And this alignment creates a sense of satisfaction and meaning that cannot be achieved through external validation. Choosing yourself allows you to pursue your goals without hesitation, to invest your time and energy in endeavors that resonate deeply with your heart, and to create a life that feels whole and complete. Fulfillment is not a distant destination. It is a living, breathing experience that arises each time you make choices that honor your purpose, every time you trust yourself, and every time you act with integrity and courage. Legacy you create by choosing yourself also involves the impact you have on others. When you operate from a place of authenticity, confidence, and purpose, you encourage those around you to examine their own lives, to ask themselves difficult questions, and to step into their own power. Your example becomes a guide, a source of motivation, and a standard for living boldly and intentionally. People begin to see that self-prioritization is not selfishness, it is empowerment. They witness the freedom, clarity, and abundance that come from living in alignment with one's true self. And this inspires them to make similar choices in their own lives. Your legacy, therefore, is not measured solely by personal accomplishments, but by the lives you touch, the inspiration you provide, and the courage you model. Choosing yourself above all else also allows you to leave behind a legacy of resilience and perseverance. Life is filled with challenges, obstacles, and moments that test your commitment to yourself. When you prioritize your growth and purpose, you develop an inner strength that enables you to face adversity with courage, to rise above fear, and to maintain your vision even when circumstances are difficult. This resilience is part of the legacy you leave, demonstrating that fulfillment and purpose are not just about success in favorable conditions, but about the ability to remain steadfast, aligned, and courageous in the face of life's trials. People who observe this strength are inspired to cultivate it within themselves, create a chain reaction of empowerment that extends far beyond your personal sphere. Ultimately, choosing yourself cultivates a legacy that is timeless because it is rooted in authenticity, courage, and purpose. Every decision to honor your values, pursue your passions, and invest in your growth becomes a living testament to the power of self-prioritization. You create a life that is deeply fulfilling, inspiring, and impactful. And in doing so, you set in motion a ripple effect that influences generations, empowers others, and leaves the world a better place simply because you chose to live fully, courageously, and authentically.